The late afternoon sun cast long shadows over the broken-down house at the end of a quiet suburban street. Its peeling paint and shattered windows made it look abandoned, but inside, two young boys were trapped in a nightmare. 4-year-old Eli sat curled up under a wobbly table, his tiny fingers gripping an old flip phone he had found in a pile of trash. His heart pounded as he pressed the buttons, desperate to make it work. His older brother, Noah, wasn't moving much anymore. He needed help. Eli held the phone to his ear. Please, he whispered. Help us. My brother. He's hurt. A beep. Then silence. The battery had died. Tears welled in Eli's eyes, but he bit his lip. He couldn't cry. Not now. If Travis heard him, it would be worse. Much worse. Across town, Detective Adam Carter was at his desk, reviewing the endless pile of paperwork that came with his job. Years in law enforcement had hardened him, but certain cases still got to him, the ones that involved kids. Just as he was about to call it a night, his radio crackled to life. Dispatch, we have a faint emergency call. Child distress. No response after initial contact. Adam sat up straight. The address was familiar. A house known for trouble, complaints of domestic disturbances, shouts in the night. But nothing ever stuck. He didn't hesitate. This is Detective Carter. I'm en route. As he pulled up to the house, the air felt thick with something unseen. The yard was overgrown with weeds. A rusted bike lay abandoned on the cracked pavement. The house stood in eerie silence, like it was holding its breath. Adam knocked firmly. Police, is anyone home? No answer. Then a sound, faint. A whimper. Without waiting, he pushed the door open. The smell of mildew and rot hit him instantly. His flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing overturned furniture and scattered trash. Then he heard it again. A muffled sound. A whisper. He followed it. The hallway was narrow, the walls scratched and peeling. At the end, a door stood slightly ajar. Adam pushed it open. His breath caught. A boy, no older than 10, sat slumped against a rusted radiator, his frail body barely covered by a torn shirt that hung loosely from his bony frame. His legs were curled up against his chest, his bare feet scraped and raw from what looked like days of neglect. A metal chain was wrapped tightly around his neck, bolted to the radiator, the rusted links biting into his bruised skin. His wrists bore deep purple marks, a haunting testament to the restraint he had endured. His ribs, starkly visible beneath his pale skin, rose and fell in shallow, labored breaths. His head lolled slightly, his dark, hollow eyes unfocused, as if he had already given up. He barely reacted to the creaking of the floorboards, his mind likely too exhausted to process the arrival of someone new. His lips, cracked and dry, parted slightly, but no sound came. He was too weak, too drained, too broken. Adam crouched. Hey buddy, my name's Adam. I'm here to help. His voice was steady, but inside, his heart ached at the sight before him. The room smelled of damp wood and neglect, the air thick with an unspoken sadness. The boy stirred, his hollow eyes meeting Adam's. Fear flickered in them, but so did something else. Hope. It was faint. Fragile, as if it might shatter at the slightest misstep. Adam stayed still, letting the boy see that he wasn't a threat. A sniffle made Adam turn sharply. He swept his flashlight toward the corner, a wooden wardrobe, the door slightly open. He could see the faint outline of something, someone, hiding inside. Eli? He called gently. His tone was soft but firm, willing the child to trust him. A soft hiccup. Then, slowly, a tiny figure emerged. A little boy, clinging to a stuffed animal as if it were his only anchor to reality. His tear-streaked face peeked out from the darkness, his small frame trembling from more than just the cold. His clothes were thin, barely enough to keep him warm. Don't take me back, Eli whimpered, his voice barely audible, thick with terror. His hands gripped the stuffed animal tighter, as if afraid it might be ripped away. Adam swallowed hard. I won't, he promised. You're safe now. He reached out slowly, giving Eli time to decide. After a moment, the boy hesitantly took his hand, his fingers icy against Adam's warm grasp. He scooped Eli into his arms. The child weighed almost nothing, his frail body barely pressing against Adam's chest. Eli clung tightly to his stuffed animal, his tiny fingers trembling. Turning back to the older boy, Adam's voice was firm. I'm getting you both out of here. Noah flinched when Adam reached for the chain, his body tense with anticipation, but he didn't resist. His breath hitched as Adam worked on the rusted clasp, fingers working quickly but carefully. It took effort, but with a final determined pull, the chain snapped open, falling to the floor with a dull clang. Noah let out a small gasp, rubbing his raw neck, his fingers tracing over the marks left behind. His shoulders slumped in relief, but his legs wobbled as he took a hesitant step forward. Adam caught him just before he could fall. "You're okay, I've got you," Adam reassured him. Then the sound of sirens split the night air, piercing through the suffocating silence. Backup had arrived. Red and blue lights flashed against the walls, bathing the run-down house in an eerie glow. Holding both boys close, Adam carried Eli while keeping a steady arm around Noah's thin frame. As they moved toward the open door, a rush of cold air filled the space, carrying with it the promise of something new, freedom. For the first time in a long while, they were no longer prisoners of the darkness inside that house. Just as Adam stepped outside, a car screeched to a halt. A woman stumbled out. Laura Grayson, the boy's mother. Her eyes were cold, unreadable. Behind her, Travis Vaughn emerged, a sneer twisting his face. "Well, well," Laura said, folding her arms, her lips curling into a smirk. "Looks like my boys found a hero." Her voice dripped with sarcasm, as if this entire situation was nothing more than an inconvenience to her. Noah flinched at her voice, shrinking closer to Adam, his fingers clutching tightly to the detective's sleeve. The boy's reaction was automatic, conditioned by years of fear. "They deserve better than this," Adam said coldly, his jaw tightening. His eyes flicked between Laura and Travis, disgust settling deep in his gut. Travis chuckled, crossing his arms over his chest. "They're brats. You're wasting your time." His tone was casual, dismissive, as if all of this were nothing more than an annoyance. Adam's patience snapped. He took a step forward, his voice turning to steel. "Turn around and put your hands behind your back. You're both under arrest for child abuse and neglect." Travis's smirk faltered for just a second before he scoffed. "You can't prove anything," he said, though his voice wasn't as steady as before. Adam didn't break eye contact. "Actually, I can." Backup officers stormed forward, their presence undeniable as they restrained Travis, forcing his arms behind his back. He fought, spewing curses as the cuffs clicked around his wrists, his bravado crumbling under the weight of reality. Laura barely reacted, her gaze distant as if already planning her next move. She didn't struggle, didn't argue. Instead, she just exhaled sharply and let the officers take her away, her indifference more chilling than any protest. Adam turned back to the boys. "They can't hurt you anymore," he said softly, his voice filled with reassurance. He crouched down so that he was at their level, wanting them to see the sincerity in his eyes. Eli reached out with a trembling hand, his tiny fingers brushing against Adam's sleeve. His lower lip quivered. "Are you going to stay with us?" His voice was barely above a whisper, laced with both fear and fragile hope. Adam placed a steady hand on Eli's shoulder, offering warmth and stability. "I'm not going anywhere." He squeezed gently, grounding the boy in the reality that, for once, someone was truly here for them. Noah, who had been standing stiffly beside his brother, finally let out a shaky breath. His shoulders sagged slightly, exhaustion and relief washing over him at once. He glanced at Eli, then at Adam. "You promise?" he asked, his voice hesitant but desperate for an answer he could trust. Adam met his gaze firmly. "I promise. You're safe now." The boys exchanged a silent look. For the first time in what felt like forever, hope flickered in their eyes, fragile but real. It was a small step forward, but it was enough. At the hospital, the doctors confirmed what Adam already knew. The boys were severely malnourished, and Noah had older fractures that had never healed properly. Their bodies bore clear signs of long-term neglect. The medical team worked quickly to stabilize them, ensuring they received the proper care they had been deprived of for so long. That night, Adam sat by their beds, watching over them. He had seen suffering in his years as a detective, but this was different. This wasn't just a case, it was personal. These boys needed someone to fight for them, to prove that not everyone in the world would turn their backs. Eli stirred first, shifting slightly beneath the hospital blanket. His small fingers clutched his stuffed animal. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. "Where will we go now?" Adam exhaled. "You're coming with me." Noah blinked, hesitant. "Really?" Adam nodded. "For as long as you need." Eli relaxed slightly, his grip on his stuffed animal loosening. Noah, for the first time, allowed a small, tentative smile. It wasn't much, but it was something, a spark of hope after years of darkness. Adjusting wasn't easy. At first, the boys barely spoke. Eli clung to Adam, afraid he would disappear. Noah stayed guarded, always watching. One night, as Adam tucked them in, Noah hesitated. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. "You don't even know us." Adam crouched beside him, his eyes steady and unwavering. "Because no one should go through what you've been through. No child should have to endure that kind of fear, that kind of pain. I can't change what happened to you, but I can make sure you never feel alone again." Noah swallowed hard, his gaze searching Adam's face, looking for any sign of doubt or insincerity. But there was none, only quiet determination. Adam continued, his voice gentle but firm. "You're not just another case to me, Noah. You and Eli deserve a real chance at life, and if you let me, I want to help you find that." Noah looked away, biting his lip, but he didn't argue. Weeks passed. Slowly, things changed. Eli started laughing again. Noah started trusting again. One morning, as they ate pancakes, Noah put down his fork and looked at Adam. "What if they come back?" Adam met his gaze. "They won't. You're safe now." Noah held his stare. Then finally he nodded. That night, as Adam tucked them in, Eli whispered, "Can we stay with you forever?" Adam ruffled his hair. "You'll always have a home here." As he turned off the light, Noah's voice, barely above a whisper, reached him. "Thank you." Adam smiled in the dark. "You don't need to thank me," he said. "Just get some rest." For the first time in a long time, they did.